Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. This will be yet another fun one today, and with a ton of edutainment. You'll see a few things are different. Location is different. How I'm dressed is different, because we're going to dig into something that is quite exciting, and I think you'll all come away with a lot of learnings from this. This is about GRQ Token, a new one that we're going to look at in great detail. So, challenge about math, money, and freedom, and warning. Viewer discretion advised. Some may find this a little bit disturbing. You've been warned. So let's jump in and see what's going on. As you guys know, we follow a very stringent token valuation process. We look at everything in great detail, and we're going to walk you through all of that today. Some of the big terms, of course, what it does, ranking, value propositions, ecosystem partnerships, tokenomics. A lot of time on tokenomics today. Maybe touch on some of the risks. And price prediction at the very end. So this is exciting. And I know nobody's heard of this token because we had to dig real hard to find it. So first of all, what it does. Well, really, this is kind of an interesting one. It's not really designed to do anything. It leaves optionality open. That makes it all powerful. Many believe this could really take over the world. And some people refer to it as the blockchain of all blockchains, especially us that really push it to you guys all out there. So also, it's referred to as a blockchain killer. So be careful, everybody. Now let's check and see exactly who the team is. So the team are really, really amazing. They are fantastic. I'm going to run out of big words here to describe them. They have the most incredible track records that you would not believe. But we have to keep that a secret as well because they are so powerful, we can't even disclose who they are. Next, let's look at some of the investors. The number one crypto fund from Transylvania is the top investor, and the Vatican City crypto fund is also in there too. It's good to see the Vatican City getting more involved in crypto. It's one of those times where a lot of this is actually required. Let's look at the industry disruption. So with this GRQ token, they promise to replace all services. We're talking commodity cognitive services, commodity database services, commodity workforce services, and we need some of that right now as well, especially around these times where people are retiring because they've made so much money on crypto. We have commodity infrastructure. That is the tip of the spear. The spear is a little bit upside down. We're going to complain to our graphics people. Commodity platforms and commodity services. This token can really do it all, and it really is quite remarkable. So let's talk a little bit about the white paper. White paper is very, very long and very complicated. I read it a few times and I still can't understand it, but that's why GRQ is the best blockchain on earth, because it's just beyond human thinking, what the average person can actually fathom. So let's talk a little bit about proof of work or proof of stake. With this one, actually, no proof is actually needed, and that helps it scale infinitely. Just food for thought. You know, I thought the whole world was moving to proof of stake, but boy, this is now beyond proof. It is a new state-of-the-art blockchain technology that nobody's ever seen before, and it's quite incredible. So let's look at the marketing. We use, and I'm of course a big part of this team, we use an MLM marketing scheme. Some people call it pyramid marketing, multi-level marketing. It is powerful. We have armies of shillers out there and shouters, and they're all funded with our tokens. We'll talk about the tokenomics shortly as to how we pay this marketing army. Hence my military jacket. Hope you guys like. So let's look at the developers, the developer records. And by the way, every single one of these slides is from a real crypto token. This is not made up. We have, for this particular blockchain, 4 development commits this year. 4. It's big on GitHub. You can see for yourselves. A hive of development activity happening with this blockchain. Now, let's just look at some scalability numbers. Here we see infinite scalability, and because it doesn't require any proof whatsoever, the energy to power the entire blockchain is the amount of energy used to charge one iPhone 13. The small screen, not the big screen one, the small screen one. And you can see it's far more scalable than any of the other platforms out there. So it's a big deal. Now let's look about transaction fees. Transaction fees are 0.0000000000001, and it's basically free, which is awesome because everything needs to be free in this world. And there are things as free lunches too. Now, this is probably the most important slide. This is the tokenomics. We like to dig into the tokenomics a great deal. So here we have 1 quadrillion tokens, and they are nicely, evenly distributed to all the people that matter. And as a comparison, just so people know how much a quadrillion is, because some people forget about this, but if you imagine all the grains of sand on Earth, there are estimated to be 500 quadrillion grains of sand. This number of tokens is 1/500th of the amount of grains of sand on Earth. So we have a good supply, which is really good. So you can see here, the founders have nearly half. Then there's an executive/fund, which is kind of important as well. And we have a whole bunch of other key names in there too. We have the investors, they get a piece, and the investors, we saw who they are, including the Vatican, etc. And we have staking rewards and marketing rewards. Very, very important. Remember I spoke about that marketing? Well, that's where that comes from. And the staking, yes, you get a good piece back too. So everybody can be part of this, and everybody can get rich fast. So it's really exciting. So now let's look at some more real live screenshots. This is the inflation, or some call it the emission through the year 2030. So the inflation rate is 276.5%. The stock to flow is 0.36. So basically, this token replenishes its supply 3 times a year, which is really, really positive. Imagine that over 10 years, we'll have 30x the supply. And again, everybody can have a piece of this. It's really good. Let's look at the circulating supply. This is another screenshot that's real. 1% of tokens are circulating, and 99% will be dumped over time. Remember, these are not even the ones we know of, because we report the supply ourselves. We do not trust anybody else to do it. Hence, our chain is completely trustless. Remember that word, trustless. You don't need to trust anybody, just trust us. And that's key. So let's talk about the market cap mystery. Coin market cap, they haven't given us a market cap. And that's because they say there's no max supply. Or maybe there's a private sale. Or maybe there's some tokens earmarked for some open bidding balloting. In some cases as well, there could be a bounty or airdrop or other operations bonuses. Maybe there's some masternode staking. What else could there be? Assets also that have been staked in masternodes are evaluated in secret. So there could be people getting staking rewards for their amount that they have, but nobody knows about it. There's also the team, the foundation, the treasury, tokens held in escrow. There's tokens everywhere. It's wonderful, just like grains of sand on Earth. And remember, assets held by project members or major ecosystem participants, such as our partners will discuss shortly, such holdings can constitute a significant percentage of the supply. In full disclosure, okay? Let's jump and talk about some of the concentration of the supply. These are the addresses with more than $10 million worth of tokens, or $10 million worth value of tokens, and there's 11 of them. Remember, there's tens of thousands of addresses, but 11 people or wallets hold 99%. So that's good. Good to know that we have a very few people securing everything that we need. Let's talk about APY rewards. This is important for those who like to stake. We love to stake. It's the gift that keeps on giving, compounding on steroids, whatever you want to call it. Here, the staking rewards are 141.9% per year. Yes, inflation might be nearly twice that, but you get some back, which is great. And we just reach back into our infinite token supply and we give it to you. It's amazing, huh? More free lunches. This GRQ, I must say, I'm very impressed with it. Let's look at the chart now. This is the GRQ chart. It's down 76% in the last 11 and a half weeks, but this is what we call coiling up. So we like to take a huge dump before a huge bull run. And this is really, really very important. So don't be alarmed. Just hodl tight. Don't give up. Things are going to get a lot better. Just get rid of your crap, pristine assets and plug it all in here because the future is looking bright. It's one of the best charts I've ever seen. Now let's look at one other thing. This is GRQ daily trading volume. Now this is a key ratio. The number here is 0.001062. Remember that number carefully. This is a key ratio that represents the volume over the trading volume in a 24-hour period over the market capitalization. Now, some exchanges have as much as, I think Uniswap version 2 trades about $120 a day. Yes, 120 US dollars a day, about the price of a dinner these days at McDonald's. Your typical ratio should be about 300x what this ratio is, but this token is the world's best kept secret. That's why the volume trading is so low, and the market cap is $85 billion, but only $120 trades a day. Again, best kept secret. Good time to get in. Let's talk about some of our key partnerships. We just partnered with Cobble Hill Cinemas. It's one of the biggest theaters on this block. This whole block, it is probably the #1 theater, and they now accept GRQ tokens for movie tickets. And on Mondays and Tuesdays, you can actually exchange GRQ tokens for popcorn as well, if you're lucky, if they still have any fresh popcorn. And you get half off the stale popcorn when you exchange there. Now let's look at some other key things. This is the Analysts price prediction for this token. Currently, we're trading at 15 cents. So getting to $15.50 by Christmas is highly probable. This is going to be 100x by Christmas, everybody. And we'll easily have 1,000x by the year 2025. It's a foregone conclusion. It's just going to happen, you know? That's what we're going to do. And that's what's going to happen. So where do you buy it? A lot of questions always come in. Now, sadly, I shouldn't say sadly, but all the best exchanges, we bypassed FTX, Gemini, Coinbase, KuCoin, Kraken, because they were asking some kind of personal questions. And we didn't want to answer those. So we decided to go with Uniswap v2, Uniswap v2 again, and we're trying a little bit of Uniswap v3 and Poloniex and a couple of other key names there. You'll know all these trusted places where basically Ox Protocol is actually very special. It's the Wild West of exchanges. You can do whatever you want. So with that, let's jump into the conclusion real quick, everybody. And first of all, conclusion part 1. There are over 13,000 coins and tokens out there. GRQ is probably #1. And remember, there are also thousands of metaverse NFT projects. Do we need thousands of those? No. GRQ can do everything. So we don't need all those guys. And remember, 95 to 99% of all crypto is going to zero over time, and it can take 4 years. But remember, as everything else goes to zero, Bitcoin dominance will rise. So on a more serious note, I'm going to change gears. This was a satire, a parody, whatever you want to call it, but just to show you some of the things you all need to look at when you look at these tokens. And also a key thing to look at here is the difference between coins and tokens. Tokens are very easy to create, typically used with apps. They run on existing blockchains, and they can have any purpose. So be careful, everybody. They are used because it takes a lot of effort to build your own blockchain. So it's much faster to build a token instead. So remember, save your developers' efforts. Use something else that's pre-existing. Now, conclusion part 2. Please check the ratios. It's not that hard. I just showed you some of the key ratios you need to look at. Look at the founding team. Look at the investors. Look at the white paper. Look at the developers. Look at the socials. Look at GitHub. Look at how big the Reddit community is. Although sometimes that can be really big and that can be misleading. Scratch that Reddit comment back there. Let's talk about the greater fool theory. This is critical for everybody to know, especially at this stage of the market. Find a greater fool to sell before you are left holding the bag. Everybody, this is absolutely critical for you all to be aware of at this stage of the game right now. Be careful who you listen to and be careful what you're holding. Just as a quick reminder, somebody shared this with me this morning. A quick refresher. If you lose 90% on a token, you will need to find a token or another asset that will give you 1,000% return to get you back in the black, everybody. Finding that 1,000% gainer, it's possible, but it's not easy. And conclusion part 4, this is kind of important. All those, as I said, were screenshots from actual tokens, and you guys know the names. This is not made up. And finally, just to make sure everybody understands, GRQ is being cancelled. Doesn't exist. It's a parody. Make sure sometimes people, no matter how many times I say things, say, where do I buy it? Why do I buy it? So GRQ, we made it up. It stands for Get Rich Quick. And you can get rich quickly, but it's not something you can bank on. And for the most of us, the path to riches is filled with years of hard work, patience, stress patience, dedication, smart financial planning. And if you do all of that, you don't have to count on winning the lottery ticket or scoring a few thousand extra turns on a few tokens to fulfill your financial goals, everybody. So it can be done, but it's highly unlikely that it will happen. Better take the more conservative approach when you can, and be careful out there. This truly is the Wild West. I can give you 500 examples of things that fulfill all these boxes we just walked through, and I can show you live examples, but I decided I was trying to think of a way, how can I show the audience what they need to look for without slamming cryptos myself? Obviously, hope you like this content, everybody. Big thank you for everybody out there in the audience and with the stickers and everything else. I love you all. Be safe. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it was educational. Just jot down on a pen and paper the key things you need to look for. It's not hard. And then analyze what you are holding. See if any of these boxes are ticked. If so, you know what to do. Thanks, everybody. Good night.